That line of thinking drew the ire of so many around the NFL and even outside of it. Mina, what did you make of Pederson's decision to pull Hurts?
Well, for me, the whole thing calls to mind the iconic words of Krusty the Clown. Oops, I said the quiet part loud and the loud part quiet, because what the Eagles did here, which is to say going into week 17, not explicitly trying to win, not really caring about winning because it's a meaningless game for them, choosing to evaluate certain players. Teams do that all the time in week 17. The only difference is they did it loudly in a close game on prime time, a game with playoff ramifications for other teams. That's why people care so much. Now, look, I don't know how this affects the locker room. Dan, I'm sure you'll speak to that. And if there are players on the Eagles who are upset about how this played out, I think they're perfectly entitled to those feelings. But if I'm Philadelphia, I don't care about how this affects other teams or the game of football. They did what was right for their organization.
Yeah, I think your points are well taken. I mean, I understand they did it loudly thing. They had 2 touchdowns last night because Jalen Hurts was scrambling, right? There's a difference between not trying to win, that we see teams that rest starters in week 17, and there's a difference between all right, we're going to go lose. This gives us a better chance to lose, so to speak, which I think we all consider and say playing Nate Sudfeld does over playing Jalen Hurts in that moment. I like thinking as a player in that locker room, especially a veteran player in that locker room experiencing it, I would be frustrated. Why did I get to practice all week? Why did I come here and prepare? If I knew this was the case, I would have done something on New Year's Eve maybe. Why did I have to go through the process of getting ready to play that football game, or at least committing to go play that football game? And I think watch Zach Ertz's press conference today. Him being emotional. Is that going to be his lasting memory of his time in Philadelphia? You know, Jason Kelsey 2 weeks ago gets emotional of why winning is the most important thing. Is that going to be one of his lasting memories as a snap for a Philadelphia Eagle? So I feel for those players.
Yeah, important to note, too, that the difference between a win and a loss means the 6th pick. A win would have meant the 9th pick. We've heard Adam Mort's reporting about Carson Wentz and his relationship with Doug Pederson and potentially asking for a trade. Is there a sense that both Pederson and Wentz will be back next year in Philly?
Well, the sense right now, Laura, is that Doug Pederson will be back. In fact, we said that over the weekend, that's the plan. Now, let me say this. He is supposed to meet with the Eagles owner, Jeffrey Lurie, tomorrow, but their plan is to bring him back. Of course, you never know what comes out of these meetings. You never know if tempers rise, if tempers flare. But, again, going into that meeting, yes, the plan is to bring back Doug Pederson. He's won a Super Bowl there. He's gotten that team to the playoffs in 3 of the last 4 years. They've been very strong, and they've produced. So, again, the expectation is he'll be back. Carson Wentz, different issue. And it depends on who you ask. If you listen to the general manager, Howie Roseman, talk today about how much he likes Carson, how much they've invested in Carson, never ruled out the idea that they wouldn't trade Carson, just said they're not thinking and planning like that right now. And so I think that this is going to gather some steam as the offseason progresses because, frankly, even though he hasn't said it publicly, I think that's what Carson Wentz is going to want in the end, is a new change of scenery, a new team, a new coaching staff, somewhere that he wants to be. And so I think that's going to come at some point this offseason. The question is when, and so then the Eagles have to figure out what they do. When you say, are both going to be back, I would say probably not, but we'll see how this plays out.
I like that. Marcus.
Man, let me clear up some things. First, Doug Pederson lying. He wasn't trying to win the game. He was trying to evaluate Sudfeld or whatever the hell his name is. The second thing is this, though. You got to spare me. Spare me with the whole feelings, and I feel bad. Doug Pederson played Carson Wentz long beyond when we all knew he probably should have set him on the bench. It wasn't an uproar then during the season when all of that was going on out from the veteran players. They knew he wasn't playing winning football at quarterback. And then Carson Wentz not saying anything about these reports. Man up, bro. I done said this before. This is the NFL. When you don't play well, you find yourself in the situation that you in. All of the lack of trust, I get it. Go play somewhere else. But guess what's going to happen if you go play somewhere else and don't play well? Somebody else going to be playing. So Carson Wentz does not need to attach this to his name. He needs to man up, whatever situation he is, try to go win that quarterback job and rectify what he did this year. That's the bottom line.
So you think it's just as easy as like man up, like just like pretend it didn't happen. Let's be super tough.
What is he gonna do? What is he going to do outside of that?
Well, he's got to handle the situation and play better. But would you feel comfortable walking in there? Would you feel comfortable going to do your job as well as you can?
Dan, a part of the NFL is not feeling comfortable. It's based on your performance. The NFL and the way you play and stay as a starter or stay on a team is based on your performance. That's what it's based on.
Hey, so
like, I get all of the relationship stuff that you're talking about.
In what
but
position?
he is on the bench because of his performance.
I'm aware of that, Marcus, but what position in the NFL is incredibly dependent on everything around them?
Quarterback.
Okay.
But you didn't sing that tune last year when he took them to the playoffs.
Correct.
They were still depleted.
I understand that. And
they were still depleted then.
And Marcus, did something happen this spring that was different than happened last spring, leading them to the playoffs? I think there was.
They drafted Jalen Hurts.
Okay, and how did that work out in the last month?
So that's the quarterback. So the quarterback you want leading your team is the one that got shook when they drafted a quarterback.
There's been a lot that's happened there in Philly. Here's what I would say, too. His silence, Carson Wentz's, has been pretty instructive in all of this.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.